What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to the Star Wars Exchange. The time has come for Star Wars Celebration to return, and we are pumped. We're sleep deprived, we're exhausted, but we're super excited at the same time. A lot going on in a very short amount of time. It's been a wild last 24 hours. Mike and I did a live stream last night. That went for 2 hours. We talked through the whole showcase. It was 5 a.m. for Mike. It was pretty early for me, but then I didn't have to get to bed till 4 a.m. and it has been a big 24 hours. So much Star Wars news to talk about. Mike, how are you, my friend?
Man, from one con to the next, right? As they say. Is that a saying? We don't know. That was quite the
Yeah, that's a saying.
experience. Okay. Thank you. We just made it. We just
Yeah.
trademarked it.
Yeah.
I don't there's so much happening that it just doesn't seem real. I just really watched the Ahsoka trailer for the first time since we had watched it together. I watched it for the first time like a couple hours ago, and I was like, "Wait, this is real? Like this is happening?" So yeah, the sleep. I really feel for all the attendees that are there and everything because I'm like, man, adjusting to that time, I already feel nauseous, man. Like I just feel like I'm a big baby. Not that I need my sleep because I will at most I'll sleep 5 hours, but if my schedule just starts turning around, like the anxiety starts kicking in with like, why am I sleeping during the day and why am I awake at night? And I just did that once, and I'm fed up with it.
Yeah.
But anyways,
And we've got 3
yeah,
nights to
happy to
go.
be
Let's
here.
go.
3 nights to go. I'm tapping out right here. Um, no, it's gonna be a great weekend. Lots to cover. All the people that we met during the live stream was so fun. Like all those people that came by on the live, like all these random people, and we made friends with, and now they're subscribers to the pod and everything. I'm like, yes, we just hit 10,000 audio downloads and plays. Like that's
Shout
just
out, Matt.
awesome. So
Shout out, Matt.
shout out Matt, shout out Matt. So we've been having a good time here at the Stars Exchange. So yeah, I'm ready to cover all the news that we've gotten because this is one of the best celebration news roundups that we have gotten in this new era or that we've ever gotten. This is just insane. Reminds me of the old
Yeah.
days.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. It is a unbelievable amount of new content to all release in one day because there will be stuff still coming out for the next few days, but in that it was about 2 hours. That 2 hours, holy moly, that was a lot of news.
That was a lot.
Let's start with the movies because I think, oh man, it's hard to say what got us most excited. It was either the movies or Ahsoka, but let's start with the movies because I think me and you had our jaws on the floor when we heard that Daisy Ridley is coming back to Star Wars.
Yep.
How insane is that? It feels like forever,
Very.
but it also feels like yesterday that she was around. It truly feels like
Yep.
we're going back into that era, which I think we all loved. I know me and Mike did. So, Mike, tell me your thoughts on 15 years after Rise of Skywalker, Daisy Ridley playing Rey is leading the new Jedi Order, and the film is directed by the name's already slipped my mind. I should have had it written down, but the director from Miss Marvel. What are your thoughts on that?
Emotional. I mean, I was just telling a friend that Rise of Skywalker, you know, it's a movie, but it came out during a time of, especially the digital version, or the Blu-ray and everything. Like it came out during a time that the world was changing, and why I wasn't that big of a fan of the film, just sitting with it with weeks on end because I really didn't like what Clone Wars was doing with Bad Batch and the Martez sisters arc. I was like in and out of, but just watching the Rise of Skywalker at home with my family for the first time, like while we were forced to be on lockdown and everything, was really something special to me because they didn't get a chance to see it in theaters. So we hunkered down and watched it, and it was just a good time. Like I'm like, man, is it popcorn flick? Sure, but it's a good time. So I always get emotional about that movie. Like towards the end when all the friends say goodbye, because I love the messaging of the film of friends can do anything together. And when you get to those final moments, when they're on Agent Kloss, when the camera just pans down to the X-wing and then to the plants, and it just pans out. It's such a beautiful scene. So I'm like, man, I mean, Not that it's been like 10 years, but I've just wondered. I'm like, man, what happens next? Like, where does go after Tatooine? Like, what's next? Is the First Order still around? So to get this news that Daisy Ridley is going to reprise her role, like just big news. What a bold move by Disney and Lucasfilm. You think they would have tried to stay away from, um, the sequel era because of the, of the conflict there, I guess, of the reception. But they're like, nah, we're gonna continue with our story, and I like that. It's bold. It feels fresh. I love that we're pushing forward with the timeline, because for Star Wars it seems like we're running in circles sometimes. Like, we're going back to tell old stories, and this feels new and fresh, and I absolutely want to see what this era looks like. The most that we've gone from this era are the Lego holiday specials, and I love that
Yeah.
we're actually pushing on with
Mm,
with a film. Like, this is just great, not a TV show, but with a film. So I'm
yeah.
like, oh man, I will be seated there. I showed my mom, I texted a couple of my cousins I went to go see the sequel trilogy with, that weren't Star Wars fans but now are. I'm like, Ray is back. So the
Yeah.
possibilities are endless, and I love that they didn't announce like a full set trilogy, because it could be that, but they just
Mm,
announced the first film, and they're gonna see how it goes. So I love that they're
yeah.
playing it careful. They're not shooting too much in the air right now. Love that. How about you? What was your reaction?
Yeah.
Because you and I went
Man,
bananas.
my reaction is on the internet. I threw my chair back. I started up. I just started clapping. I didn't know what to think, but it honestly didn't sink in. I think it didn't sink in until I was on the train today. I was on my way to something, and I was listening to a video about it, and I was making this post, this appreciation post, and I was looking at this picture of Ray from Rise of Skywalker, and I haven't even told Mike. Usually, I'd already told Mike this sort of thing, but we had to hurry up and get this podcast moving. But I genuinely, and I'm not someone that cries ever, but I genuinely shed a tear on the train just thinking about the whole journey, because it actually took me back to when I was maybe 11 or 12 and I saw the trailer for The Force Awakens. It might have been the second or third, where the door opens and Ray's there, and you see her in
Oh,
the goggles, and I just remembered seeing that and falling in love with the character immediately, like so many people did. And I'm not crazy about the sequels. I don't hate them. Force Awakens is my second favorite Star Wars movie. Um, but I love Ray. I love Ray so dearly. So to have her back, and played by Daisy, I think Daisy is just, I love her energy. She's so infectious, and any fault at the sequels you can't direct at her, because she gave it her absolute everything, and she's the perfect person to be the face of the future of Star Wars. So just the more and more I
yeah.
think about it, the
Yep.
more and more I'm in love with the decision. Um, and I've forgotten the director's name, but I was reading some stuff about her, and that all sounds great. And I saw on the Star Wars Twitter, on the Star Wars Instagram story, they showed when she came out on stage, and that as well made me very emotional. So, and it's surprising that that was the most emotional thing for me, because the guy sitting on top of me right now, Ezra, is obviously my favorite Star Wars character, and we saw him for the first time in live action, and that wasn't even the most emotional thing for me for the day. So it just goes to show, crazy news day. But you know what I just loved about the movie news? I think there is something for everyone. Some people might not give a damn that Rey's coming back, and that's totally fine. But they might go, "Oh my god, Dave Filoni's directing a Star Wars movie. That's awesome. Oh, we're getting a Dawn of the Jedi movie. That's awesome." There's something for everyone, and I think this is great, because me and Mike were going so existential the other day, because of our distaste toward Mando, about, Star Wars, it's not looking good. All it took was this one panel, and I'm like, I am on board. I love
Yep.
Star Wars. How good is this?
Yep.
So Mike, let's talk about Dave Filoni, because we've had a complicated relationship with his live action direction, I suppose you should say. But he is going to direct his first movie ever, I think, live action movie, that is. And it will be the culmination of everything the Mandoverse has been building towards. What do you think of this?
I think it's another bold move. I mean, there was conversations when Bob Iger was still CEO, which he's back again, but when he was initially CEO, there was conversations about taking Mando to the big screen, what that would look like. Would we get a Mandalorian finale on the big screen, or just an adventure thing? And I'm like, yeah, I would love to see that. That would be epic and everything, to see a Mando movie. But I'm like, what would make it, what would be the circumstances to give it a movie, and so now hearing about this, that they're planning to do, the culmination of everything, all the story threads are going to lead up to something even grander than I think than Thrawn, and they're going to put it on the big screen. I think that's a bold move. That's like, I mean, it's already like an ask for, Star Wars and Marvel to put these movies out in theaters, and then to be like, yeah, and then catch, watch the stuff, or especially Marvel is a big, is guilty of this the most, but they'll like, before you watch the next movie, you got to watch like this show and this show on Disney Plus, and you got to play chess with that sometimes. But here they're gonna like, the all the people that are, all the general movie going audiences would have had to watch all the Disney Plus
It's going to be
series.
almost 7, 8, 9 seasons of television.
Yep, that's a lot. So I think it's a very bold move. I'm very curious to how the marketing would play out. Like, I'm already thinking about those aspects. But what a big day! What a big moment for Dave Filoni. I mean, what a big moment. This is big. This is his first. This is his directorial debut for live action. So I'm kind of, I really don't know how to say I feel, or like how it's going to turn out, whatnot. But I'm very excited for him, is what I'll say.
I was going to say, I think no matter how we feel, I think if anyone in Lucasfilm deserves the opportunity, it's him. He's never done it before, and if it was someone else, I'd be so skeptical. And I am skeptical of this, to be completely honest, but he deserves the chance to have a go, because we haven't seen Ahsoka yet. Ahsoka could be incredible. You know what I mean? So, and if that's incredible, then I don't see why he can't do a movie. But yeah, I'm getting really like heir to the. I mean, we saw in the Ahsoka trailer, she literally said heir to the Empire, but I'm getting heir to the Empire movie vibes just from the whole sound of this thing, and I'm also getting Avengers in Star Wars vibes as well, which I don't know if I love that, but I definitely don't hate it. I'm sort of like, I'm very interested, intrigued, and excited to see how it plays out, because I think it's going to be very interesting.
Yes, interesting is a key word to all this today. I think there's a lot of things happening, but yeah, to cap it off, Dave Filoni, very excited for him. This is big. People have been wanting. I feel like some of the hype died down a little bit after Mandalorian and stuff has come out, but I feel like I remember back in the day in 2015 on Instagram, people were, when Lucasfilm announced their slate of films, they're like, give Dave Filoni a movie. Give Dave. Some of our friends, Noah, who's been on the podcast before,
You just threw
he
me
was a
back to
leader.
that.
He was a leader in the hashtag. It was like, give Dave Filoni a movie. And now look, Dave Filoni is going to direct the movie. That's crazy. And it's going to be, what was the wording there? It was going to be like Imperial Remnants versus New Republic type thing.
Yeah.
So
or like
very curious.
The ultimate Imperial Remnant led by Thrawn, the heir to the Empire, versus the New Republic. Also, let's talk about the banter in the room real quick, because it is important to note we have had a truckload of movie announcements, and how many of those have progressed? 0. Post Rise of Skywalker, that is. Rian Johnson, we don't know where that's gone. Taika Waititi, we don't know where that's gone. Rogue Squadron, Patty Jenkins seems to be out the window, and you can name countless other directors and writers that Lucasfilm have parted ways with. So, Mike, the question I have for you: Are we going to see all these movies? Are we going to see one of them? We're going to see 2. We're going to see 3. What do you think?
I believe we'll see all of them, which is crazy to say, but I think because we'll talk about James Mangold and his project in a second, but I think they solidified who they want and what their narratives are, because it seemed like with Taika Waititi's, we don't know what we're doing yet, but we have him. He's gonna make a Star Wars movie. Rian Johnson, we really don't know what he's gonna make, but we just want him, and we want him in our field creating films and art. But here they actually have the directors and the stories that they're attached to. And yeah, you had Patty Jenkins doing Rogue Squadron, but after Wonder Woman 1984, that kind of changed some things, but other than that, I mean, like, these guys have, because Taika's film, I don't even think is greenlit yet, it still has to go into like pre-production and get that approval script and whatever, and then be like, okay, we're gonna make this film.
Taika has not has gone past development.
Right. So they're still very much in the like incubator stages. But for this, they have the story, they have the directors, and Dave Filoni's not going anywhere. What he's in this? What
exactly.
are him and are him and Kathleen Kennedy, after years and decades of working together, something they're gonna disagree on this film or whatnot. I think
Yeah,
Dave Filoni, if anything, if nothing else works out, Dave Filoni will get his film
that movie
made.
will happen.
But
Yeah,
James Mangold too, he just directed Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, which looks great,
yeah,
by the way. I watched the trailer and I was like, oh my god, this looks great. So I need to
yeah.
do a little marathon. But they got
Mm,
James Mangold, who was previously rumored to direct like Star Wars films before. So it's cool
mm,
that he actually has one now. But yeah, I think Kathleen Kennedy, I mean, he would have not come back to work with Kathleen Kennedy, or she wouldn't have got him if they
yeah,
didn't like each other, or they didn't, see eye to eye. So I think this will
yeah.
perfectly be fine.
And
And yeah,
I think you can say the same about bringing Daisy back. I don't think you bring Daisy back and
right.
don't see it out, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
And that even if like the director gets fired or something, that story is gonna happen. It's bound
that
to
story
happen.
will happen. Right, right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm very confident in this, and which is crazy to say, because before we'll get movie announcements and be like, yeah, well, a couple months it's gonna be like they left
Mm,
the project due to creative differences. But
yeah.
I really think this time they calculated, they pulled Thrawn moves, right?
Yeah.
Sat back, calculated, and then shot out. So I think this is
Yeah.
the result that we're getting.
I'm totally with you because there's a few reasons. One, they're not announcing trilogies; they're just announcing movies.
Right.
Do you know how much pressure it is on a person to say you are going to direct a trilogy of Star Wars movies, a trilogy of any movies? That's a decade of someone's life. You're
Right.
just gonna take away. So they just said that they seem that there's a lot of clarity. They released that sort of roadmap almost of all the eras of Star Wars, and I
Right.
think they've realized they don't want just like spurts of stuff randomly throughout. They're like, okay, they can all be completely unconnected, but let's look at the whole Star Wars map and really chart ourselves out where we're going. So
Exactly.
I'm with you. I think 3 out of 3 will get made, but I'm still yet until I see a trailer for one of these movies, I'm still going to be skeptical. But I do
For
think they
sure.
will get made.
But I am just happy we are not starting this new era of Star Wars film with Rogue Squadron.
Oh
I
my
just want
god!
to say that.
Thank God! Thank
Thank
God!
the Lord, because
I'm happy with
we're moving
with
on.
any of the movies that they announced. Any of them would be the perfect start.
Right.
After Rise of Skywalker, going back to the Dawn of the Jedi, Dave Filoni, in the culmination of the Mandoverse. They all sound like great starting points to reboot the Star Wars movie universe.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So let's talk about James Mangold though, because he will be directing a movie set 25,000 years before the Skywalker saga in the era of the dawn of the Jedi. So the remnants, the origins of the Jedi sounds pretty epic to me. Mike, what do you think?
Love when prequels actually are prequels and not like
Yeah.
the prequel trilogy where it's like we got to connect everything to the story
Mm,
before. I like it
yeah.
when we go all the way back and you have just room and legs to breathe. You know, I love that there's no constraints. You can do whatever the hell you want, and I'm sure they'll do that. And they're gonna show like the origin. We're gonna explore the origin of the Force, which I'm a little, a little. I don't know if I want to demystify that, or the
Yeah.
first Jedi ever. Like I don't know if I
I'm
want to
with you.
demystify that.
I'm
I'm very scared
yeah.
about that. It's like going into Yoda's origins. Like I don't want to know. Like
Yeah.
keep the secret ingredients in the secret ingredients. I want to know.
Yeah.
So I don't. I other than that though, I think I'm very much excited to see what James Mangold brings to the forefront, and I think this is a very interesting thing because it's just great after all these years. Lucasfilm, Disney acknowledged that the Old Republic exists. Um,
Exactly.
so because people thought we were doing away with the Old Republic when High Republic came out, it's like no, they're two
Mm,
different eras, and it's nice to finally get that confirmation. It's like, yep, Old
yeah.
Republic exists, High Republic exists. We can all be happy, as you were saying. There's
Yeah.
announcements for everybody, so it's like with Acolyte, which we'll talk about, High Republic, and then you have Old Republic here, and this is just the beginning of it's we're landing in this era, and it's just we're gonna get to
Mm,
explore all throughout, and whatever James Mangold brings to the forefront in his film will be the standard, will be the principle, will be the golden line of what this era will be. So I'm
yeah.
very this film will be very pivotal into what's to come in this era. So
Yeah.
lots to do, lots
Exactly.
to explore, but love that we're going all the way back before the Rise of
Mm,
the Skywalker saga.
yeah. Yeah, and I just got to say, a movie like this, or even just a story like this, is so long overdue in the new canon. People love the Old Republic. I'm not crazy on it. I think it's great, but I'm not the fanatic. But I think it's so long overdue, and I'm so glad we're getting it. And I think it's the perfect medium. I don't want a video game, a book, a comic, even a TV show. This sort of concept seems like it's just going to work great on the big screen. I'm so ready to go to the movies, sit my butt down on one of those chairs, and watch some Star Wars in cinema. Old Republic. I'm so ready for that.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that's the movie news. So grand. It's just brought a shining light to me, and I'm sure to you, and just the podcast. I feel like we can sit down and review a movie in a few years. How
Oh my
awesome is that?
gosh.
Like, you know what I mean? I'm so chuffed about it.
You're right. We will
yeah.
we will do that. I haven't done that
And-
since I did my old podcast before.
Exactly.
Yeah.
While this podcast has existed, there has not been a single Star Wars movie released. There hasn't been a Star Wars movie trailer, nothing like that. So I'm so excited to just cover it and just be a fan and enjoy. But let's move on from the movies, because something pretty amazing happened last night, and that was the debut of the Ahsoka trailer. It was awesome. So much to dissect. Me and Mike were talking last night. I think that could possibly be... Yeah, okay. For me personally, that was the best Disney Plus live action trailer without a doubt. Like,
Agree.
It's that and then Daylight, because it felt like a Rebels trailer, and I'm still very skeptical about all the recasting and all that sort of stuff, but I'm liking what I'm seeing. I'm really liking it. We've got a first look at Thrawn, a first look at Ezra. Mon Mothma's up in there. We've got an Inquisitor who could be someone we know, could be someone we don't. Some red/orange lightsaber wielding characters. There's so much going on, so much to unpack. What were your thoughts on the trailer? What was a highlight for you?
Highlight. Definitely seeing all the Rebels characters. I think seeing Hera was insane.
Yeah.
I think we had gotten pictures of her right before the teaser came out.
Like 5 minutes before.
Yeah. So we were talking about that, debriefing about that, but seeing all this just feels so surreal. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I'm still a little I forgot to plug in my battery here. I'll have to do that in a second. Wait, no, I have it here. I just forgot to... Okay, that was a little scary. But I mean, for me, there's always going to be that like little tinge of like resentment, because
I'm with you.
We didn't get to see this in animation. I think when Rebels had wrapped up initially, I did like so many like talks and stuff about what we could see in everything. You know, Dave Filoni said that the finale of Rebels was the end of one story, but the beginning of another. So, and that is very much so true. But I'm like, man, like it really has changed from that initial animation approach to it. And like, I'm just going to miss Ashley Eckstein so much as Ahsoka. And it just feels like I really wanted to see that Ashley Eckstein, Tia Sakar duo in finding Ezra Bridger, and it's very different, and I feel like I'm still gonna have like a jagged response just because it's not those precious voices. But you know, we'll adapt, we'll learn. We've come a long way with that type of stuff. But overall,
I was just gonna say, I think hearing dialogue from Hera and Sabine was really jarring to me. The Rosario voice, I'm still struggling with it, but I'm slowly getting used to it. But hearing the new voices of Sabine and Hera, I was just like, "Oh, really?" And hearing Ezra could make me cry if it's not good. It's like that. I have a lot of
for sure.
I like the resentment you're talking about. I feel that absolutely, but it's pretty much all directed toward what they do with Ezra, and it's yet to be seen. So,
yeah, no. And if anything, if we're that upset about it, I'm sure they could do like a Tales of the Jedi, like edition of Rebels, and have Ahsoka in there and Ezra. So we'll be fine. We'll be okay. But everything else though looked amazing. I mean, just some of the visuals look great, and you could definitely tell about they don't have movie budget, but that's okay. Still, I'm very excited about what this story is. It's kind of crazy that we went from season 1 of The Mandalorian to this like lonesome gunslinger to where we are now. Thrawn's in the mix, and it's all the same universe. It is wild, and
then Mon
seeing all
Mothma
that
coming over
stuff
from Andor.
I know it feels great because it to me I didn't like that all the series were so disconnected from each other, but it's starting to
Yeah.
kind of form up in a way that we didn't expect. I'm sure
Yep.
with Obi-Wan, we'll connect it back with some of the flashbacks in Ahsoka or whatnot to the
Mm,
Obi-Wan series. So
yeah.
with Hayden Christensen, he's been rumored to be in the series. So
Yeah.
I'm like, it just feels like it's all coming together, like all tying up and into one story. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm very much looking forward to this. It's coming out August 2023.
August 2023. But they always say a month and it'll come out at the
Yeah.
very end of the month. So in your head, you may as well just say September because it'll probably come out August
Or
31st or
or they
something.
might push it back a couple months like they
Yeah.
always do. So
They have
yeah.
fallen into that trap regularly. Real quick, last point from me. I just want to say I absolutely loved seeing Sabine. It looks like she was, I don't know if this is what was happening, but she was sitting there looking at a hologram of Ezra. And I think it was the message that Ezra left that we see at the end of Rebels. And
Right.
I just love that she's sort of, I don't know, just that moment was so sweet to me because I have an inkling that the beginning of the series is going to be
Yes.
potentially um, this is just me spitballing a theory. I think what's going to happen is Ahsoka's going to kind of be keen to go out and look for Ezra, but Sabine will sort of be reluctant, maybe, and that's why we see her with the long hair. And
Right.
then she's somehow going to be convinced eventually, and then she'll cut her hair, and then we'll see the Rebels epilogue. That's what I think is going to
Exactly.
happen, and I think
I
it'll be
think it's
awesome.
I think it's the most likely. I think I mean she in the Rebels epilogue she says like, I used to think that Ezra wanted us to keep here foot on Lothal and watch out
Yeah,
for his people because he cared
yeah,
about them so much. But then I realized one day that it was something more. And she in Rebels, she looked in that Rebels epilogue, it looked like she just cut her hair. And I
yeah,
mean, we did get that visual at last year's celebration where Sabine was up touching the mural that we see. So it just looked like it was a recreation shot. So that theory is not too far off. Like I literally think that we'll probably get that in the
yeah.
first episode of that happening. So yeah, I think the Rebels epilogue will happen before our eyes.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's Ahsoka. And with all this stuff, we're really just touching on it. Post celebration, when we have some time to breathe, we
Right.
will go much more in depth and talk about all this stuff because that's really just our surface level thoughts on it. But Ahsoka's coming up real soon, so you're going to hear a lot of coverage from us on that. But let's move on to the Acolyte because the Acolyte is looking like it's cooking. We did see a filmed trailer of it, which is just so disappointing that we don't get to see an actual thing. But me and Mike found a leak trailer. I'm sure I don't want to promote it, but if anyone's looking for one, I'm sure you can do a quick Google search and you'll find it. But the footage of the series has been described as it looks very like High Republic-y, just on the big screen. Those gold robes, yellow lightsabers. Oh, you can see like the diversity between the Jedi. Like it's not as blue and green. You could say as we see in the prequels. And yeah, and a very exciting blend of the Force and martial arts. So it looked great. We got a really dodgy look at it, obviously, but there's a new logo. Jonas Swatomo, I believe is how you say his name, who plays Chewbacca in the sequel trilogy, is playing a Wookiee Jedi in the series, which I think is great because Jonas's energy is just awesome. He just loves being a part of Star Wars, and like we said on the stream, like last night, something along the lines of if we want Star Wars fans in Star Wars, you know what I mean? Like the one of the cast members was cosplaying Padme. Like how awesome is that? You
Right.
know what I mean?
Right.
And yeah, the series got described as a mix of Frozen meets Kill Bill, which I haven't seen Kill Bill. I've seen Frozen though, and promises to be more of a spiritual war since we're in a time of relative peace. So Acolyte is cooking. It looks pretty good. And can I just say, Leslie Headland, I love her energy. She
Yep.
is a Star Wars fan. She walked out onto the stage and said "for light and life," which is a common phrase used in the High Republic. And Kathleen Kennedy has just been constantly praising her for her obsessive Star Wars personality, saying that she grew up reading legends and all that sort of stuff. So Acolyte sounds awesome to me. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I love Leslie. I love Leslie. She
Yeah,
when she has social media up, she would be posting that she was watching Clone
yeah,
Wars and whatnot, and I'm like,
mm.
oh man. So she knows her stuff. She's up
Oh
in
yeah,
there. So
yeah,
the Acolyte 2, it's what they say when it's coming out, 2024.
yeah. I don't think they said anything more than that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it was just 2024.
it's a bit way off, but from what the stuff that I was seeing, I was like, dude, yeah, give us a series in the High Republic, and she made it known that we will be in the perspective of the villains.
Yeah.
And she was like, I'm so excited to explore that, and she kind of like she made like a self-deprecation joke and be like, yeah, I have my own issues, but I like the dark side, I like the bad guys, so I thought that was funny. Uh, but yeah, I'm like, yeah, this again, I love this new initiative that we're going for with Star Wars. This feels fresh. I never thought Disney and Lucasfilm would have the the blue milk bantha balls to do something like this where we see the perspective of the villain. So I'm very excited for all that because yeah, there's gonna be tons of Jedi and stuff, but this is going to be like a pinnacle moment before the Phantom Menace in the Sith and Jedi back and forth in this conflict. So we're gonna see the early rise of the Sith and stuff. So while the High Republic era is fading, a new era begins, and I'm just so excited to see that. Who knows how many seasons there'll even be?
Yeah.
I'm
I'm
excited
getting
for all of
major
it.
Andor vibes from Acolyte, which is a great thing. I think
Yes,
from what I'm hearing about the Acolyte, it sounds like it would really fit the tone of an Andor type show well. So
right. It has adult
everything
themes.
sounds
Yeah,
great. Yeah.
it has
Do you have
adult
anything else
themes.
to add before we move on to
No,
Skeleton Crew?
no,
Yep.
no.
Acolyte sounds good. Let's talk Skeleton Crew. And the show, I think, still no release date as well. But it will most likely come out this year. I would guess maybe a post Christmas, like really late in the year release, or maybe a November, October-ish release. But yeah, it'll be after Ahsoka, obviously. So Skeleton Crew was described as a bunch of kids who want to go on a great adventure, but it might be more than they can handle. And they go along that there's a adult figure with them, played by Jude Law, who is confirmed to be force sensitive. There's some theories about it being Law Santeca. We can talk about that in a second. But yeah, Skeleton Crew sounds great. Bryce Dallas Howard will direct an episode. John Watts, David Lowery, a few notable directors. And the footage, it looked good. It's been described as Stranger Things in space. Also, there's similarities to an ET type thing. I know Mike is a massive Stranger Things fan, so it's exciting for him. And again, why are you laughing? Am I lying?
No, it's just the way you said that. I appreciate it though.
But yeah, and we also saw a filmed trailer of it, and it looks good. It looks the trailer sort of revolved around there was a kid sort of in a Luke Skywalker state of mind, I suppose, just wanted to go out and have an adventure, and then they get away, and then the parents are all stressing. So the footage looks pretty cool. This one is a big question mark for me. I don't know what to expect, but in the best way. And I think this is a very new kind of Star Wars story for the screen. This is very familiar in like even like it reminds me of something I've read in the High Republic, like a Test of Courage or something, or Race to Crash Point Tower. But this is a totally new type of story for the Star Wars screen to tell, and I'm pretty hyped for it. So what do you think?
Reminds me the imagery the kids. There's like this shot that I was saying on the live stream that reminded me of the kids boarding the ramp of the Crucible and the Clone
Mm,
Wars Youngling
mm,
arc. And I think that that's kind of what we're gonna see, and I'm very interested. Maybe not all about the Force related aspects, but how I'm just because, like I said, we started this journey off with season one of The Mandalorian, lonesome gunslinger, and now this galaxy, this era, this footnote in the galaxy has grown and expanded to a larger landscape. So I'm very interested to see where, just all the different perspectives of the era because they are taking place in the same time frame. So I'm like, we're getting the New Republic side, we're getting a lot of the Imperial remnants, and now we're getting some kids caught up in this side of the galaxy. So I'm very interested to see, and very interested to see Jude Law's character as well.
mm.
From the stuff that I saw at 5 in the morning, on my phone of secondhand footage, it looked cool. And a lot of people were saying, yeah, it feels like ET, feels like the Goonies. And I'm like, yeah, I would love that in Star Wars. Like that for me feels like old, old Lucasfilm, like Indiana Jones, type. So, and Steven Spielberg is no stranger to Star Wars. Him and George Lucas are like best friends and everything. So I'm like, this is cool that, work that's inspired by Steven Spielberg and all that. So I'm in. This feels like a different type of story, and like we are saying earlier, there's something here for everybody, and Star Wars is for everyone. So I'm like, man, we get to play with Acolyte and Andor and whatnot, and then there's all these kids that will be watching this stuff, and but yet this is still will be for adults and everything. So John Watts looks like he's just having fun with the series. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to this.
Absolutely, absolutely. Sorry, I was pulling up the Andor trailer because that's what we're moving on to next. But yeah, skeleton crew. I can't get a word out. Looks great, and it's pretty soon on the horizon, so we should be hearing quite a bit more about that pretty soon. But yeah, let's talk about Andor. Not a lot to talk about. They sort of came on stage just to celebrate see the success of season 1, which is definitely worthwhile. Andy Serkis was there, crowd was cheering One Way Out, all that sort of stuff, which is cool to see because Andor was a sensation to the world. So it's good to see it get celebrated because the cast hasn't really reunited since the first season ended. But we know that they're halfway through production of season 2. They are aiming for a late summer 2024 release, so still a ways off, more than a year. And yeah, they also released some footage, which we saw as well, secondhand footage, and it looks a lot more of the same, I'd say. Listening to the music of it just sounded fantastic, and more of the same in the best way, by the way, because we've got more Andor in a new costume, Cyril Khan in a new funny looking hat, Mon Mothma, the name's slipping my mind, Luthen. Everyone just seems back and ready for season 2. They kind of talked about how there's a lot of time jumps, so characters are going to look marginally different from one episode to the next at times. But yeah, I thought the footage looked just more of the same in the best way. The music had me thrown back to those final 2 episodes, but I am very, very excited for Andor season 2, but it is just very far away. So what do you think, Mike?
Yeah, I thought this all looked really cool from what we saw. I mean, for me, Andor, like I'm just like excited to see this like second half finale. And season 1, I really like season 1. But it left definitely a lot of space to be filled in the finale where I'm like, we didn't get like that conclusive because it's a part 1. So it's like I'm just dying to see what's next. What's part 2? Like I want to see those storylines wrapped up, all the things that they're juggling with. I want it to come to a nice sturdy end. So yeah, I'm just excited, man. I'm excited about Andor, and the characters just look great. It looks I love that while there is a time jump, it just looks seamless from when season 1. Like there's a picture of Cyril Karn's mom, and it looks like we're back in she's sitting in that booth in her house, and it looks like we're back in season 1, and I'm like, this feels unreal. So yeah, I'm like, yeah, man, I'm looking forward to this. And yeah, it's coming out later this no wait 2024, right?
Yep.
2024
late
so,
summer next year.
Damn, we got some time, but I'm gonna be rewatching Andor a great many times before then.
Absolutely. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all the major news. We got through it a lot quicker than I thought. But yeah, a lot to talk about, a lot to dissect over the next few weeks, few months. And Star Wars looks good. It looks good going forward. And that got us very, very excited. Also, a few housekeeping things. First of all, if you haven't already, you can go check out our reaction to all the news and a longer form breakdown, kind of see us getting the news revealed to us and reacting to it and talking about it on the live stream we did yesterday. Also, audio. Thank you to all our audio listeners. We appreciate you, and we just got to 10,000 listens. So thank you so much to everyone. If you are an audio listener, we would really appreciate a 5-star rating and a review to show your support. It means a lot to us. And yeah, we love you guys. And also, not forgetting, oh, did my mic cut out? Am I still here?
Yeah, you're still here.
I'm still there. Sorry, just my headphones are glitching on me. If you're on the YouTube, please hit the like button. Please subscribe. All that sort of stuff. Leave a comment. Let us know how you're going with this season. This season. What am I talking about? It's like we're doing an after show.
I know.
But yeah, that's what do you have to say before we wrap up, Mike?
Yeah, the Star Wars Celebration Day 1. While we're not there, we're there in spirit. We got a nice call from someone that's there. One of our friends, Colin, he was just on the podcast talking about Mando. So we got a live caller for the first time during the live stream, and he got to speak about his experience. So go check out the live stream. I just put it up on audio, so you guys could listen to it on audio as well. It's a 2-hour thing, and
For sure.
like I said, we had great many friends on there, and we met some new ones, and it was great. So we might do a live stream for the Ahsoka panel and all that. So live streams throughout the weekend.
There will be more live streams for sure.
There will be more live streams. But yeah,
Yeah.
thank you for tuning in. This podcast is going in great many directions, and it just feels so different than the story Ari and I were building last year with the pod. It's just like we're on the ground running, and we're in the middle of a cool battle right now, and we're just juggling so many things with the pod. So very, very, we have an awesome community. So thank you for listening. We appreciate you guys. We'll see you next time. May the force be with you. Adios.
See ya.